Hey guys, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Natasha Martinez, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news in the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this Thursday is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy. My name is Mark, and on today's program, is it time for the Skywalkers to end? Who's going to be playing Mulan? And most importantly, what new party trick does Joaquin Phoenix know? He can turn water into something. Let's find out on the show. Who's joining me?
Also joining us, Clarke Wolfe.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and also joining us, Mark Reilly.
Happy to be here, everyone.
That's Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, there's Carrie Fisher. That's all right. I don't need my close-up. She's better. Stick with Carrie.
Like you have a great screen presence. Okay, don't get me wrong. Your hair's fantastic today, as it always is.
Thank you.
It's hard to follow that cover. It's almost shockingly we went from all of us, then we went to this cool cover, and then it's like, no way, let's show Reilly on TV. So go back to Reilly for a minute. There you go. See, you can follow me. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that cover's pretty exciting.
I can't follow the cover. It's like it'd be much like opening for you at a comedy store. You know, nobody's there for me.
Yeah,
they're not, and they're like, who the hell is this guy? Because he's not that funny. So get off the stage. There you are, Rolling Stone.
I don't think a lot of people are here for me either, Natasha. I think most of them are here to find out more about Star Wars. Daisy Ridley's talking about it. What's Carrie Fisher's legacy going to be going into Episode 9? And most importantly, are the Skywalkers, is this trilogy it for them? Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, in an extensive report from Rolling Stone, more details about the future of the Skywalker Saga, including how Episode 9 will deal with the General Leia character and whether or not the Skywalker Saga will end after Episode 9, was touched upon ahead of the December 15th release of The Last Jedi. One of the bigger questions to start is, will the Skywalker Saga continue after Episode 9? According to the director, J.J. Abrams confirmed he does see the saga ending after Episode 9, but cautioned that the future is in flux. When Rian Johnson was asked how they were dealing with Carrie Fisher's General Leia character, Johnson revealed that they didn't end up changing a thing and had a totally complete performance from her for Episode 8. The director then alluded to the fact that it's up to Abrams to figure out how to grapple with Fisher and Leia's sudden absence in Episode 9. Mark, what are your thoughts on the Rolling Stone report for The Last Jedi?
Oh, well, I read this report, Natasha, and I have many thoughts on a great many things. The first one I want to get out of the way is whether or not Daisy Ridley might be back as Rey after this trilogy. I mean, we can assume, because she is the hero of this new trilogy, that she's going to make it out of Episode 9 okay. That you want to see Rey save the day at the end, whether she goes to the dark side in this movie or the next movie, that she's going to make it out cleanly, and we're going to be celebrating and high-fiving Ewoks or maybe Porgs in this new trilogy at the end of Episode 9. But then where does her character go from there? And we've seen this with a lot of stars, like whether it's Robert Downey Jr. negotiating kind of in public to play Iron Man again, that you got to pony up the cash. So if this trilogy does what we all expect it to do financially, and we have a whole lot of money coming Rey's way, Daisy Ridley's way, then I think we would see her again, but you're going to have to pony up more dough. And then the other thing is whether Skywalkers will continue in a trilogy beyond this. Well, it's going to be interesting, because I think a lot of that falls on Rey's lineage. If Rey is related to a Skywalker, we know that there's a Skywalker not named Rey in this new trilogy, and that would be Kylo Ren. Kind of is a Skywalker. He's related to one, so what's his fate going to be? A lot of people speculating that he might actually go to the good side at the end and be redeemed, which is very hard to do after you killed your dad, which is somebody we all really love. So if that's able to happen, then we see his adventures going forward. Then I think the Skywalker legacy will continue. But as far as the Skywalkers that we have known and loved, Reilly, for years, the Leias and the Lukes, we unfortunately know that Carrie Fisher is not going to be able to play Leia anymore. What about Mark Hamill playing Luke? Do you think that Luke is going to continue on in maybe a living or Force ghost manner? What do you do with Leia? And then what do we do with these younger potential Skywalkers?
Oh, such good questions, Mark Ellis. I don't have the answers right now. I can only speculate. This is a great article. As far as Leia, I hope I hope something is there in 8 that we get really great closure, because we've heard all these things that Force Awakens was Harrison Ford's Han Solo's movie, then this is Luke's movie, and then Episode 9 is Leia's movie. But how are you going to do that if she has a nice round performance that we didn't need to change at all in 8? I thought it was going to close out in 9. So are we going to get something in the crawl of Episode 9? It's like General Leia passed away and we're all at her funeral. General Leia has disappeared like Luke did in Force Awakens. I don't know. I have no idea. But as far as the Skywalker saga, I always go to what George Lucas said, and even Kathleen Kennedy said it in an interview about a month ago. She said, well, George always said he had 9 movies in his head. And so here we are. We're rounding out the last trilogy, coming up on 9 movies. It sounds like it's going to end. Then you look at the facts. You have Rian Johnson's going to direct a new trilogy of Star Wars movies that is not related to the Skywalker saga, with everybody thinking it's going back to the Old Republic. So we have that on the books. We have an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie on the books. We have a rumored Bounty Hunter or Boba Fett movie on the books. We have Han Solo coming out in 6 months. I think they're pretty full for the moment. So then you look at Rey and Daisy Ridley. So if we're not doing Skywalker Saga, we can take Rey out of the mix. And maybe years from now, 10 years from now, they revisit it with a standalone Rey movie. Or maybe they do revisit the Skywalker Saga somehow, but years later, like they did with the new trilogy. So if they, like you kind of touched on, Mark, she might be done after 9, but years later, let's see how she feels. I mean, yeah, go out and do your thing. And she wants to go and she's got all these movies on the books right now and working great. But what happens 10 years, 20 years from now when they approach her and go, we're going back to the character of Rey. Do you want in? And they go, here's a Brinks truck. And she goes, yeah, that sounds good. I would love to do this now.
Yeah, Clarke, I mean, if you look at it in context of how long we had to wait to see Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and Han Solo back, I don't think we'll have to wait that long after Episode 9, presuming Rey makes it out of this trilogy okay. But I would figure that they would take some time off because we get 2 years in between each trilogy movie with this new one. So I think it's going to be a little longer than 2 years before we see 10, 11, and 12 if they do have a new trilogy, whether it's Skywalker heavy or not. Do you think it's going to be a 5-year wait, a 3-year wait? How long do you think that they would wait, and how much that is contingent on Daisy really wanting to come back?
Yeah, I think, I was actually, for me personally, I really like that what we're seeing with Rey is almost a 3-episode origin story. So we see where she's beginning, we see her in the middle, and then we're going to see the woman that she becomes, right? Assuming that she makes it out of Episode 9. And so actually, I kind of really love the idea of coming back to her when she's 35, 40, and really focusing on this warrior and this Jedi's as an adult woman. Where has she been? What has she been doing? Who has she been training? What has she seen? And I think in a lot of ways, if it were a different time and place, maybe that would have been Carrie Fisher's arc, however many decades ago. Like, I think the potential is there for something really interesting with Rey further down the line. And that's something that I would love to see. And I think I have to imagine, cynicism and money aside, I have to imagine that as an actress, when Daisy Ridley is about 35, 40 years old, perhaps she would be interested. I can't imagine not being interested in portraying that type of a journey on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I love these new characters we've been introduced to in The Force Awakens, and I'm excited to see where they go. But just, coming from the age I am and the generation I grew up in and loving the original trilogy when I was a kid, I would miss the Skywalkers tremendously if we didn't have any more stories about them. I understand why. I understand that George Lucas originally envisioned the 9 movies and that the Skywalkers have gotten older and they want to take it in a different direction. It's also going to be hard for me if the only Skywalker that we still have alive is the one that killed his dad. I don't. As of right now, I'm very not Kylo Ren. I'm not a fan. I'm not wearing a Kylo Ren jersey to The Last Jedi. I'm rooting for him to meet the demise that I think he so richly deserves. Maybe my passion for that could change after I see the movie, and I'm sure I will have a lot of different thoughts when I'm walking out of the premiere next Saturday night. But in the meantime, Natasha, what's very interesting to me is that there was also noted in this article is that J.J. Abrams, when he was directing Daisy Ridley in Episode 7, told her who her parents are or where she came from. But he also told her that this is not like a Lucasfilm signed off. This is not Star Wars canon necessarily. So Rian Johnson could tell her that, no, your parents are actually X and Y, not, B and A. So as a fan of Star Wars, do you think that it's going to be important for you to discover what her lineage is in this movie coming out in a couple weeks, or can you wait until Episode 9?
I mean, this is my opinion on coming into the Star Wars movies. I just like seeing what the director's vision is, and I'm not one to speculate every single move. Like, I like to be surprised, you know? So I think that's really great for Daisy as an actress to also be surprised. Like, she knows who her parents are or who Rey's parents are, but, you know, as the movies continue, like, it could change, and I think that'll cause for a great performance. So I'm just, you know, whatever they do to me is like artwork on screen. So I'm like, okay, you just tell me what it is, and I'll love it.
Yeah, and we certainly give Rian Johnson a lot of rope right now because he also just got this new trilogy in his lap. So somebody at Lucasfilm must like what he did with The Last Jedi. But I think it was interesting, Clarke, knowing that J.J. Abrams gave a note to Daisy Ridley, like, this is where you came from, just so you have this in the back of your head. And then that might change, but it's really cool of a director to be like, oh, this is what we need for this movie, and then that could totally change because the character herself may have this, like Rey may be speculating, oh, I think this is who my daddy and my mommy is, and then Luke could totally blow her mind, or Kylo Ren or Snoke could totally change her opinion as to where she came from.
That's exactly what I was going to say. When I first, read that somebody had answered that question for her, it's kind of like, well, as an actress, if she has it in the back of her head, that's kind of a weird thing to play. It's like, I'm playing like I don't know, but I secretly know. And then once I thought about it a little more, it's exactly what you're saying. It's this idea that, of course, Rey has a guess as to who. I mean, I'm sure she's been living with this question for her entire life. And so I love the idea that, something has been planted in the actor's head, but down the line, it could be revealed that it's completely different. Could you imagine the shock of, living with this and knowing, and it actually is as close to that scenario in real life as you could possibly get. I'm
Look
so
out,
excited.
the force is moving cups on set, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can't take it.
See, I knew something bad was going to happen on the set because I'm drinking from a gold. I've never seen a gold. So this is like Snoke's
It's
bathrobe
very
color.
fancy.
So it's very, the liquid is bubbling. I don't know what's happening in there. Clarke, do you want to see? So I'm going to give you all a new trilogy, right? Congratulations. I'm a very benevolent guy.
Thanks,
I'm a giver.
Thank you.
You give a new trilogy, okay? And you get 10, 11, and 12. Do you think that is going to be Skywalker heavy? That it's going to be no Skywalkers, or that it's not even going to be episode 10, 11, and 12, that it's going to be like totally new, we're never going to have those numbers continue?
I think it's going to be a totally new trilogy. I don't know if we're never going to have those numbers continue, because I could see from a marketing perspective going, okay, well, it was 30-something years in between episodes, what are we at, 6 and episode 7, and so we're going to do it again in, decades down the line. So I actually think that we're going to start a whole new saga, and then perhaps in a couple of decades, if we're all still here and Disney's still, cracking, then they might pick it back up again.
Well, I mean, I'm going to write my good friend Elon Musk and just say, hey, when we go to Mars, can we just have some good movies, and maybe episode 10, 11, and 12 are going to be one of those. Reilly, Skywalker heavy, Skywalker nil, or different numbers altogether?
I'm with Clarke. I think they're following the trend. Yeah, we had years between the prequels and the original. We had another years between the prequels and this new trilogy. They, like I said before, they have a plan. They want to do this new trilogy, no Skywalkers. I think it's like a business cycle. Years from now, the Star Wars saga might be kind of running its course. There might be some fatigue. We're getting like standalones, new trilogies, Obi-Wan movies, all these different things. So 20 years from now, everybody's like, that last Star Wars movie wasn't really that good. And they go, oh yeah? How about a Skywalker saga? Here's 10, 11, 12. We brought Daisy Ridley back and Mark Hamill as a Force ghost. We don't know how it's going to happen, but that I could see them doing that to kind of give a little bit of adrenaline into the franchise, but that's years from now. And I don't think they're going to worry about that. After 9, it's going to be done. They're going to focus on the new trilogy. They're going to focus on Obi-Wan. They're going to focus on maybe the Bounty Hunters and maybe another spinoff that we don't even know what it is yet.
Natasha, they're throwing some pretty large numbers my way. 30 years, 20 years. To quote a movie I watched for the first time yesterday, you're tearing me apart, Reilly and Clarke. Do you think it's going to be that long of a wait before we get episode 10, 11, and 12?
I don't know about 30 years, but I definitely am on the same page as both of you.
10.
Like, I think... Yeah, maybe 10 years.
You guys are killing me.
I think you guys, we need the Skywalkers. They're like the heart of Star Wars. And if you go too far away from it, I mean, everyone might not be on board. So I feel like you got to bring them back. Gotta bring
Look, I don't know who her parents are going to be. I know that I think Kylo Ren, I just have a feeling that he's going to survive. I just think that he's too precious of a commodity to not make it out of episode 9. I think the same thing with Daisy Ridley character Rey. So I think that we're going to get episode 10, 11, and 12 pretty quick. And I don't think it's going to be 2 years after episode 9, but I think it could be 3 years. I think it could be 4 years.
Really?
So?
Well, you have Elon Musk money, so you can make a lot happen here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just you might be right. You might be right, but the way that things have been announced, we're not getting a Skywalker saga in a little bit.
How about this? Here's what blending of two theories. If the standalone movies don't do what Disney wants, if the first of the new trilogy, doesn't do exactly what Disney wants, Disney plays it safe.
Yeah.
This has been my complaint with them over the last 2 years, right? They are taking the safe bet. That's when you go back into the Skywalker trilogy. In the immediate future, is if the rest of the franchise doesn't quite elevate it the way that Disney wants.
Yeah, I mean, you can also just look at somebody's career, and I think that Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver are going to go off and do a lot of different, diverse kind of roles going forward. But you also have somebody like, look at Vin Diesel. He had the Fast and Furious movies, and then he went off and he started making other flicks. They started getting lesser and lesser returns, and same thing with Paul Walker. And then they get back together hey, we're getting the band back together, and the movie does great. You throw in The Rock. So sometimes a career it is needed. You have an actor who needs a boost in their life, or you have a movie that needs some fresh energy or some nostalgia injected into its franchise. We could see a lot of different things with Star Wars, but I think Skywalkers are going to be around in some fashion, and I think it's going to be sooner rather than later after Episode 9. By the way, I looked into ordering a Tesla. There's like a 4-year wait list, and by the time I could actually get my Tesla, I'd be boarding the jet to go to Mars. So I think I'm sticking with the Ford Fusion for right now. In the meantime, our next story, finally we get some more casting announcements from Disney that is not about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, THR reports that Disney's worldwide search is over and Mulan has been found. The trade reports that Chinese actress Liu Yifei, also known as Crystal Liu, is set to star as Mulan in Disney's live-action adaptation of the classic Chinese tale. A team of casting directors for Disney visited 5 continents, seeing nearly 1,000 candidates for the role, which required martial arts skills, the ability to speak English, and what THR described as star quality. Nikki Caro, who most recently helmed The Zookeeper's Wife, is directing the movie with a release date yet to be determined. Clarke, what are your thoughts on the casting of Mulan?
I love this. Mulan is one of my probably top 5 favorite animated Disney movies. I love that movie, and I love that they're giving it the live action treatment, but real live action, as in people playing the parts and not just advanced like digital, like we've seen with The Jungle Book. So I think this is great. I know very little about this actress. However, just in terms of her look, I mean, she looks like she is the animation brought to life. They did an amazing job finding her, and she's such a popular actress over in China that I have to imagine that from an authenticity perspective, but also from a business perspective, I don't know if you could have found a better candidate. So I love this, and also I just love that this is really happening. Like you can attach a director, and you could say, oh yeah, we're totally gonna do it, but then it never happens or it takes forever. But casting your lead and announcing it like this means it's a go, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I don't know how arduous of a process it was, but this was all behind closed doors as opposed to Aladdin, where it was more in the public how much difficulty we're having trying to find people who can play the role. But I agree with Clarke. I mean, the first look is that Crystal Liu, that she's known as the fairy sister by the Chinese public because she's so beloved for her pure and innocent look since she was on a hit TV series in the mid-2000s over there, is that it looks like Mulan. It looks like this person could be playing Mulan, and then from a business perspective, it makes all the sense in the world because you're marketing this movie to a global audience. So she's already huge in China. She also spent part of her childhood growing up in Queens, New York, so she's fluent in English as well, which is huge from a marketing perspective. So this has all the signs pointing in the right direction, those signs being culturally significant as well as dollar signs. Natasha, you pretty excited about this as well?
Oh, I'm so excited. I am with you, Clarke. ballpark. I love Mulan. It's one of my favorites, and I cannot. Ever since Disney started doing the live action, I was like, you know what would be a great live action was Lion King and Mulan.
Yep.
So I've got 2 of them coming my way, and I'm so excited. I'm really happy that Disney took this process and the casting and making sure that she was good in martial arts, that she spoke English, because I think it's important, like, to take the time to find the perfect fit, because, you know, like, a lot of people are needing this in movies and culture, and so I'm just so excited. I can't wait to see her, and I mean, I'm so excited. Even looking at Mushu right now, I'm like, yes, I can't wait.
You know, Reilly, most Southern California kids grow up with Kobe Bryant posters or Magic Johnson posters. You, nothing but wall-to-wall Mulan.
It's true. And the soundtrack was just over and over again. I'll make a man out of you. Great song.
Let's get down to business.
Exactly. No, this is one of the best Disney animated movies. I love this movie. I know, excuse me, nothing about the actress. Like, I know a lot of people have said, but then when you go online, and when I was doing the research for the notes, there's so many people on social media just like going, my God, Disney, you knocked it out of the park. They are so excited, from fans of her as an actress to people that just wanted a real Mulan to like step off the screen and become live action. They're like so down for this casting. People are so excited, including me. I look at, she's worked with Jet Li. She knows martial arts. She's so popular in China. This is fantastic casting, and it's been, echo what you guys have said, for Disney to take that long to really get it right. They really wanted to get the right director for this. I know they approached Ang Lee at one point, and he passed for whatever reason. They really are taking their time on this one. They want to move the conversation forward, diversity, all these things. They're checking all the boxes, and I'm excited for this. This looks great.
Yeah, the highest grossing film on record right now that's an American-made movie in China is, I think it's Fast 7, and then you have Transformers. I think it's Age of Extinction right after that. So hopefully this is the best movie, like, critically, that we've exported to China, but also I think that this has a great shot at being the #1 movie. This might be, I mean, look, it's going to be so popular all over the world. You see y'all gushing about it. Could this be the biggest box office hit in the history of time?
At China? In China.
In worldwide box office.
Oh, I get what you're saying,
included,
because so much relies
on... Got to get to
on
them Avatar 2.5 billion numbers.
I mean, I don't think that, but how amazing would it be if one of the biggest movies to ever, one of the biggest movies of the year in whatever year, similar to this year, by the way, Disney's Beauty and the Beast is in the top 5 biggest movies of the year this year. And to have Mulan sort of get or do the same, that's a pretty incredible thing. Especially considering that Mulan is a fighter, she's a warrior, she's not your average Disney princess. So if it resonates, if it's good and it resonates, that'd be pretty awesome.
Natasha, Reilly, you think we got a shot at the all-time?
I mean, I didn't really think about it, but now that you're saying it, I can actually see that happening. I mean, if she has that star power over in China, Disney's going to put her in the right position to have her explode over here, and like, I mean, I'm down for it.
How about you, Reilly? We taking over the world with this?
All-time over Avatar, Titanic, Force Awakens? That all-time?
That all-time.
I mean, you never say never. I mean, they're doing the right thing right now. China is a huge market for our domestic releases, so that can be a huge factor in this. I think Mulan's definitely going to beat Transformers and Fast 7 because they have the actress now that is so popular over there, and you have a better story. I'm sorry. You already have the source material. This is an interesting. I started getting in my mind her, and it's going to be a musical too. Am I right? It's like
I really hope.
Yeah. So that's very fascinating to me. I can see the singing, the action, the herd in the role. I don't know. I think it can definitely beat it over there. I think China is gonna knock it out of the park. Worldwide, I don't know. It could probably crack top 10 for sure if it's a good movie, a good adaptation. hits all those right moves, yeah, it'll hit top 10, but not all time.
Well, we don't have a release date just yet, but we do know the King Kong versus Godzilla coming out 2020. That's your new all-time champ, right? Who's with me? No? Okay, let's move on to movies that are coming out a little bit sooner, like this weekend.
All right, opening this week is The Shape of Water. Elisa is a mute cleaning lady working in a hidden high-security government laboratory in 1962 Baltimore. Her life changes forever when she discovers the lab's classified secret, a mysterious scaled creature from South America that lives in a water tank. As Elisa develops a unique bond with her new friend, she soon learns that its fate and very survival lies in the hands of a hostile government agent and a marine biologist.
Yeah, I've been hearing rave reviews about this new project from Guillermo del Toro, and I got a chance to check it out last night, actually. I got home from the comedy club, popped it in, thought I was going to maybe fall asleep watching it, and I was so wrapped up in this story on so many levels. It's such a nice emotional journey. There's great science fiction elements. There's good versus evil. There's a Cold War twist to it. There's so much greatness in The Shape of Water. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. I haven't really digested it enough to think, okay, that's top 10 or that's top 5 worthy, but Sally Hawkins has got to be nominated for an Oscar for her performance. There's a lot of great supporting roles in there, too, from Octavia Spencer, Richard Jenkins, Michael Shannon, Michael Stuhlgardt, and then also give a huge shout out to Doug Jones, who has done so much creature work both with and without Del Toro that this guy, Clarke, he's almost like, if you look at it in terms of he's the Andy Serkis of practical creature effects in the modern era, and he might do one of his best performances in Shape of Water.
I mean, we had the pleasure of welcoming him to Collider Nightmares in January, and in addition to talking about the movie that he was there to promote, he did talk to us on camera in the interview, so you can go back and watch it now, about The Shape of Water. And at that point, we hadn't really heard that much about it. We knew that it was coming, and it was a Guillermo del Toro love story that was going to be a small, intimate film. And Doug just said, like, if Guillermo isn't all over the Oscars, I'll be shocked. And he had such kind, and he was so excited for Guillermo, and it was really cool. Doug Jones is a doll baby from heaven. He is just the nicest man, and he's incredibly talented, like you were saying, but I think because he's such a chameleon, and not far off from an actual chameleon in this movie, people don't necessarily think of him in that way. But he is a true talent. He's a class act, and I think Natasha and I are the only people in Los Angeles who have not seen this movie yet. I don't understand.
I'm with you.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So the three of us, because it's like, I don't understand how, I mean, the horror people, there's Guillermo people, I don't understand it. But
yeah,
we
what's
haven't
wrong
seen
with you, Reilly?
I don't know. I was not offered a screener or a press screening, and
you know where I live. You know, you get the Evites.
However, I did get. Okay, this is what did happen. I did get an offer to get a screener, and I turned it down. And I will tell you why. I'm going to go opening night. I'm going to support this in theaters.
Oh, don't throw that back in my face, okay?
I'm sorry. I am. But I get why you're going to watch it. I'm not, look, nobody's going to tune in. I know they want to know. Some of you out there are nice enough. They want to know what I think about this.
You're a doll baby from heaven as well.
I'm a doll baby from heaven. However, I do want to see this in theaters because the one thing people have been saying about this it was like Guillermo del Toro made a movie for you, Reilly. They know my taste so much. My friends, my colleagues, they go, Guillermo just made this for you. And I went, what? I got to go see this. All the press marketing, everything I've heard, these reviews I'm hearing, Oscars across the board, they're like, wow, this is better than Pan's Labyrinth even, which is my favorite Guillermo del Toro movie. So I got to see this in theaters. I cannot wait for this thing. Everything I'm seeing, everything I'm hearing, I can't wait.
Yeah, you hear the name Del Toro, Natasha, and it's got such a vague title. I'm walking into this thinking, are we going to get some horror? Because I love the way that guy can scare me and create some spooky imagery. But here, I would name this movie not The Shape of Water. I would call this Creature from the Black Lagoon a love story. Aww. Is this something that you think you want to check out opening weekend as well?
Absolutely. I am 1,000% going to see this weekend. I mean, I haven't heard much about it. I haven't even seen the trailer, but the poster for it, I mean, it's just so beautiful. And it does look like Creature from the Black Lagoon, a love story, and I'm in for that.
Yeah, well, she's in for that. Then we're going to move on to Buy or Sell, where we have a couple trailers to offer both you and the panel right now. Natasha's going to read them down. We'll say whether we buy it or sell it, and then debate accordingly. What do we got first?
A new trailer has been released for All the Money in the World, but this time it features the added scenes of Christopher Plummer in the role of J. Paul Getty, previously played by Kevin Spacey before he was removed entirely from the movie after allegations of harassment. The movie went back for a couple of weeks of reshoots that ended this week, with the trailer showing those new scenes and still promising a December 22nd release just in time for award season. Reilly, buy or sell the new trailer with Christopher Plummer in All the Money in the World?
Okay, so they finished the reshoots this week. This is ridiculous, this turnaround. I cannot believe this. And hell yes, I buy this trailer. It looks fantastic. And it's a different trailer. In fact, I remember sitting on this panel talking about the first trailer, where all I did was talk about Kevin Spacey and how great he looked. And wow, how things change, and rightly so. But this now has a feel that's more on the thriller side. It's more like it's really focusing on the crime, on the characters, and not so much. I mean, you could tell in the original marketing campaign they were going after an Oscar for Kevin Spacey, and that was before all this nonsense broke. So now they're putting it into this is a thriller. Here's Christopher Plummer. Don't worry about everything else. I don't even think you can find the other trailers. I think they're gone. But here it is, and everything looks seamless. It really does. And I'm so excited that they got Christopher Plummer. I know that there was some reports that he was the original choice for the part. They also went to Jack Nicholson. They both, Jack Nicholson turned him down. The producers wanted a bigger name than Plummer, got Kevin Spacey, everything happened. But now, so he's destined for this. He's destined to play this. I can't wait to see it. Big buy for me.
Yeah, it's a buy for me as well. Clarke, I've been a fan of Christopher Plummer. I mean, he was great in Baby Driver this year, when he won the Oscar for American Beauty, when he was in The Usual Suspects. Christopher Plummer, hell of a career that guy's had, and now he shows up in this new trailer. Are you buying him replacing Kevin Spacey, and also are you buying the trailer as a whole?
Mark, Christopher Plummer wasn't in American Beauty.
He was great in Swimming with Sharks. Yeah.
You silly goose. So I buy this. Now, I was also on the panel when we talked about the first trailer, and it's amazing tonally how different this trailer is from the first one. In the first film, I really felt like a quiet, simmering tension, and in this one, this looks like action, edge of your seat, like gasping for breath kind of thing. But that being said, I agree with you, Reilly. Like, Kevin Spacey in the makeup was on full display in that first trailer. You're absolutely right. It was so clearly we are going to get Kevin Spacey a supporting actor Oscar nomination for this movie. But I have to say, watching this trailer, I forgot for a minute all about that, the chaos and the circumstances. I think this movie looks great. I thought it looked great the first time, but I also think it looks great now. So I'm super on board with this, and also I think that all in all, it might have been more of a distraction. Forget about what we know now and the harassment allegations. To watch the Spacey film, because it would just sort of just be like every time he was on screen, wow, look at him under all of that makeup. Whereas now we have a man who actually has the years and the life experience, and I have to imagine it's going to be a really different performance.
Yeah, Natasha, if I showed you this trailer and you weren't aware of any of the things going on in the replacement, the reshoots, would your Spidey sense have gone off at all, that this looks different than the rest of the movie? Or, I mean, did it feel pretty seamless?
I would think that this is the way it was meant to be. And after watching this trailer, I can't even really imagine Kevin Spacey in the role anymore. And I wasn't excited for this movie before, but yeah, especially now with the action cuts and everything, I'm like, okay, I need to see this movie. It looks really good. Yeah,
the movie looks great, and I'm gonna buy and sell it at the same time, because I'm buying Christopher Plummer replacing Spacey. He looks amazing in the movie. I want to see the flick. The only thing I'm selling is that the trailer is just, it gave me a little bit of a headache, okay? You MTV kids with your music videos, it was just so quick and jump cutting, and I couldn't, I like when trailers hit you fast and they hit you hard, but like, they just kept throwing so many quick scenes, I couldn't, and it wasn't to cover for Christopher Plummer, because like, the scene, like, we get nice close-ups of him, we get to hear his lines, and then it's just so much other crap going on, I can't tell what the hell is happening. They're trying to like overwhelm me with all this action that's gonna take place, and it's like, just take a breathe. Just breathe. Nobody else felt that way?
Can we just take a second to appreciate that Ridley Scott turns 80 today or yesterday?
I raise my golden chalice to you, sir.
80. He's directing movies where aliens are ripping people's heads off. He's doing this shit, blowing things up.
That's
I mean, like, 80
amazing.
years old. And also, if you just read this article that just came out where he talks about, like, switching it all up, he was like, yeah, we just did it. What? Like, he is not.
He's gangster.
I mean, he's kind of like, I just want a slow clap for Ridley Scott because
He's the best.
He also said he did not consult or tell Kevin Spacey. He heard the news and he went, well, let's change it, and got it all taken care of.
This.
And didn't he, like, literally turned his back on and went, don't know you anymore. I mean, it's crazy, and good on him for doing it.
It's it's a huge accomplishment. I'm very excited for the movie, but the trailer just. Really, I know you're only 80 years old, okay? Maybe get some maturity on you and then cut a new trailer. It is a golden chalice that I raised to Ridley Scott. It kind of looks like a relic of some ancient note that is maybe a couple thousand years old.
It's
kind of like a holy grail almost, if you will. Natasha,
like
can you take that ball and run with it anywhere?
I was like, where is he going with it?
Jeez.
I'm always going somewhere.
King of segues, my friend.
Okay, well, the first trailer for Mary Magdalene has officially been released online, starring Rooney Mara as Mary and Joaquin Phoenix as Jesus. The movie is the directional follow-up from Lionhelmer Garth Davis and is set in the Holy Land in the 1st century CE, where a young woman leaves her small fishing village and traditional family behind to join a radical new social movement led by Jesus of Nazareth. Chiwetel Ejiofor also stars with a release date set for March 30th, 2018. Mark, buy or sell the first trailer for Mary Magdalene.
Oh, I get to bat first. Okay. So I heard about this yesterday, and I know this movie was coming out, and Rooney Mara is a fantastic actress. I'll see her in everything, regardless of whether her ethnicity would sync up with Mary Magdalene or Joaquin Phoenix would sync up with Jesus. Like, I'm interested in these actors and their representation, and Jesus has been played by so many different people over the decades, by so many different backgrounds that, sure, I'd like to see multiple actors give their take on what it's like. This particular trailer, I think Mara looks fine as Mary Magdalene, but it's very Jesus heavy. The name of the movie is Mary Magdalene, but I felt such the hand of Cristo, if you will, in this. And what's striking to me is that I think that this movie, in a weird way, might be a little off-putting to people who are very religious, who consider themselves Christians, and they want to go see this flick, regardless of what your denomination is because the vibe that I got from Joaquin Phoenix was not of the Lord, our Savior, of the Son of God. He looked more like David Koresh to me. He looked more like a cult leader in this movie. That's just me watching the trailer. If you take away all my Catholic school background, and I'm not religious, I guess I'm a little spiritual, I'm agnostic, whatever you want to call me. I watch this and I'm like, this guy, he's got these crazy eyes that I understand probably could be very manipulative. I mean, he looked as much like somebody who's like, hey, go do this for me, than it did like I'm actually some. And maybe that's the goal of the movie, and that's fine if that's the goal of the movie. It just like, I didn't find it that appealing if you're looking for some sort of religious affirmation. If you're looking at these people as just human beings that are going through something very, very different and turbulent in the time that they live in, this guy who might be trying to do good, but also just might have his own devices at play. It's going to be a fascinating exploration. So I'm not buying this, but I'm intrigued to know more about it. The reason why I'm not buying the trailer is because it doesn't make me want to see the movie. I'm just interested in the conversation, I guess. How do you feel about it, Natasha? You're Clarke. You're Natasha. You're Mark.
I get to be
I'm
queen
Mark.
for a day. So I sell this trailer. I think this is a very bad trailer. I don't think it's a good trailer, period. And Joaquin Phoenix, some of those shots that they had of him, he's just sitting off in the corner being like, hey. I actually laughed out loud when they cut to, there is one shot in particular, they cut to him and he's just like,
creepy eyes, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. On top of that, I agree. I'm so glad you said the movie is called Mary Magdalene, and the trailer is cut so that it seems like your traditional Jesus story. And I was like, well, wait a second. This is not Mary. This doesn't appear to be Mary Magdalene's story, or even a new take or a fresh look on Mary Magdalene's story. This looks like the same story that we've seen 100 different times. Finally, I wanted to mention that the description that Natasha read is not the movie trailer, a trailer for the movie I just saw. Like the idea of re-examining, the story of Jesus and the story of Mary Magdalene, and sort of through the eyes of like a radical idealist or something like that. That is intriguing to me. That's not what this trailer was. And notice March 30th release date, that's right around Easter. So this is clearly being cut so that you can get the folks who are celebrating Easter, who traditionally do turn out around Easter time, not just for like Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, but for smaller faith-based films. They make tons of money around Easter time. So I think that this is a confused message. And so I sell this.
Yeah, Natasha or maybe Clarke. I was confused because like you see the director of Lion in it. I know you're a huge fan of that movie, and this does feel like just a very different take and something that was kind of a curveball. Did you respond to the trailer at all?
I think the fact that the director of Lion is the one directing this movie is the only saving grace for me.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. But as a Catholic, I look at this and I do see I'm skeptical of it. Like the trailer, and taking that aside, the trailer alone, I was not impressed at all. And I actually didn't think about that it wasn't really through the eyes of Mary Magdalene. It seemed like it was Jesus' story. So I don't really appreciate that, because I do think it's important to tell the stories of women in the Bible and explore that, because, there's not that much out there. So I don't know. I was a little put off. I did get some cult leader vibes from Jesus, and I don't like that. So I don't think I'm going to watch this movie. I don't usually watch a lot of faith-based movies because I just think it's really hard to get it right. And I don't know. I'm hoping for more from this, so I'm hoping that the director of Lion can pull through, but we'll see. I don't think I'll watch it in theaters. I'll probably catch it later.
Yeah, Reilly, I don't know if you've ever been like bored in a hotel room and flipped through the Bible, but women kind of get shortchanged in it. I really like the first part where Adam's like this dude, and then his rib gets made to mate Eve, and then she goes off and eats an apple. We're just doing the right thing here. She went off and went fruit that you're not supposed to eat, so, blame women, right? No, you don't want to take that torch?
You're throwing that to me?
I will throw this to you.
Off
because
a Jesus movie?
her name is Mary, right? Her name is Mary, and you hear she's from Magdalene, and it's Mary Magdalene, but you might hear that once in the trailer. The rest of the time, if you just show this to somebody, you might be confused and think, wait, is this Jesus' mom? Is this the movie about the Virgin Mary?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the goal of the movie.
Yeah, I echo everything you guys have said. I think that I sell the trailer. It's not a good trailer. It's confusing. It's focusing more on the Jesus character than Mary. And the title of the movie is Mary Magdalene. And I want to see that. I want to see a great portrayal of Mary Magdalene, and Rooney Mara is a great choice. She's a fantastic actress. But yeah, we have David Koresh there. He looks a little kind of creepy. Yeah. And look, you mentioned it, Clarke, the Passion of the Christ. They're going after Passion of the Christ audience with the release date. They're hoping for a huge, huge opening weekend.
Easter Sunday, April 1. So it's literally Easter weekend.
It's that weekend, just like the Passion of the Christ, I believe. Totally. I think it opened the same. Do we have an R rating on this? I don't know yet, because I know that was
this film has not yet been rated.
Not yet been rated. So it's classic marketing. They're focusing on what they think the audience wants. They go, remember Passion of the Christ? Let's do that. Clarke even said it. Some of these smaller-based faith films do very well, especially around Easter time. So that's all making sense to me, but shortchanging the story of Mary, and that's what's troubling to me. The only saving grace for me is Garth Davis. I adore Lion, so I'm hoping that we're going to get something different. We're going to have to wait and see what some of the reports say of the movie, the critics, what they say. Is this a cheap cash grab to, cash in on the holiday, or is it actually Garth Davis having something to say, and Joaquin Phoenix knocks it out of the park as Jesus, and Rooney Mara gets an Oscar nomination for Mary. We'll see.
All right. Well, we are going to find out. Comment right now. Let us know. Do you want to see Mary Magdalene in theaters? You're going to be spending your Easter like I do, gaining 5 pounds, all in Cadbury egg weight. This is not the only show we have on Collider Video. We also have your daily dose of heroes has been up twice this week. We also have Jedi Counts. I'm sure they're going to be diving deep into that Rolling Stone article later on today. Plus Inside Schmodown, hosted by Ken Knapsack over on Facebook Live. And the top 50 superhero movies of all time keeps on rolling. A new episode dropped this morning, so make sure you guys check that out. Congratulations to John Schnepp, by the way, on his 200th Heroes episode. We raise our golden grail to you as well, sir. As we move on to Mailbag, it's kind of a cool question, and it's something that's going to have to put our thinking and voting caps on.
Yes. Okay. Son of Kal-El writes, "Greetings, Collider crew. Out of all the movies you've seen this year, and if you had the power to give an Oscar, any Oscar to anyone, actor, actress, writer, director, movie, who would you give an Oscar to and why? Love all you do, and thanks for making my days in school go by so fast."
Wow. Your days in school. Son of Kal-El. First of all, I didn't know your dog had a son. Congratulations.
I had no idea. Why do you think I picked it?
He's already of school age. Reilly, do you have anybody on your mind you think deserves an Oscar?
Yeah, it's a couple people, but they're a team. Popped into my head immediately, and it's Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber, who wrote The Disaster Artist. They also wrote 500 Days of Summer and should have been nominated for that movie, and they weren't, not even for a Golden Globe. And they're long overdue. And seeing The Disaster Artist, this movie is fantastic. And to adapt a book and to also find that delicate balance that you need for this movie to work, because I thought the first 30 minutes of the film, I wasn't necessarily laughing. I was sort of creeped out by James Franco's performance as Tommy Wiseau, and I was like, this is fascinating. I was sucked in, and then this movie just went, and every funny moment that needed to hit, and every moment that needed to land dramatically hit. And I adore this movie, and it always starts with the writer. So as a writer, I want to give props. If I had that Oscar, I would give it to them. Their body of work shows that, but this movie really, they're on their game in this movie.
All right, Reilly rewarding not only a movie this year, but also maybe a little bit of a lifetime achievement, although it is very young in their careers. Clarke, how do you feel? Who are you giving your Oscar to?
So I'm giving my Oscar to Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I was thinking about, because I'm going to write a piece today, actually, about Dark Horse Oscar contenders. Because this year, I actually think that there's a really good shot that Get Out is going to get some nominations. Wonder Woman. Maybe even It might get for makeup or even adapted screenplay, right? So there's some cool stuff that might be coming up. But then I started thinking about Andy Serkis. I think Andy Serkis is going to get shut out because Apes this year really well received, but not the financial success that its predecessor was. And honestly, I think Serkis should have been nominated for the last movie, and he wasn't. And now we're in a place where I think he's going to get pushed out of the conversation. And I think that is a travesty. Yeah. His work as Caesar in these movies is outstanding. So I am going to finally recognize Andy Serkis.
So the writer of the question goes by Son of Kal-El, but Clarke is writing a piece later on today about who deserves an Oscar. I am smelling some sort of tomfoolery afoot.
Me?
Do you have a pseudonym, a moniker?
Maybe.
Is Son of Kal-El your Mark Twain to the real life Samuel Clemens? Natasha, I'm giving you one Oscar, and it can be your lovely pink mug over there.
Oh.
The corkicle.
I hereby grant this Oscar to, I think costume design, Beauty and the Beast. I would love to give a costume design Oscar to Beauty and the Beast because I just loved everything they did. The dresses, I know I was a little bit of a hater in the beginning, but after watching the full movie and just seeing everything, I just thought it was authentic and beautiful.
Well, from one snazzy dresser to another, I think they deserve at least a nomination. I'm going to give mine. Look, I really wanted to go with original screenplay. I was going to give it to Jordan Peele for Get Out. And then I watched, The Shape of Water last night, and I'm like, oh, Sally Hawkins, this is yours. But this Golden Chalice goes to Timothée Chalamet for his performance in Call Me by Your Name. Holy crap! Just blew me away on so many levels. He plays this Italian teenager, and Armie Hammer comes, and it just rocks his emotional world to its core. He discovers new things about himself, and in every scene, you get to see him. He's trying to play it cool, then he's also figuring out new elements of his life, and it's just it's a heartbreaking. It's a life affirming performance at the very same time. I think he's going to win a real Oscar. I think he should win a real Oscar, and he's also going to win the Golden Solo Cup. So hats off to you, Mr. Chalamet. Because we are a little short on time, we're going to skip live Twitter questions, but I do want to give a chance for everybody to plug their good stuff because I love having you all on Movie Talk, and I want to see it more often. Classy Clarke Wolfe, where can the kids find you?
Thank you so much, Mark Ellis. So I don't know if you guys know, but I launched a podcast this week. Thank you. Yay. It's my very own endeavor. It's independently produced by me. It's called Sending the Wolf, little Pulp Fiction nod to you. And we premiered with an episode with Sam Levine and myself talking about The Godfather. And it's a really, really fun episode. I'm very proud of it. And new episodes every Tuesday. So you can put it into iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or you can visit my website, which is clarkewolfe.com, and you can find it all there. So thanks.
You know who you should have given an Oscar to is all your ancestors for having such a cool name, Wolf. Like you can do so much with Wolf. With Ellis, it's pretty much Ellis Island. That's what I get to do. Reilly, you probably bathe with Irish Spring. What else about you?
Sure. Just follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Reilly Around. We'll see you there.
All right. Gave him the ball. He dropped it. Gave it right back to me.
I just don't.
You guys got the best hair in the business. Natasha Martinez.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @NatashaLexis_.
I am merely Mark Ellis. You guys can find me at Springfield College, just outside of Boston this weekend. I'm going to be doing some jokes there. If you're not enrolled in the school, maybe you can get in, maybe you can't. I don't know how they do things there. Then the Comedy Store and New Year's Eve date I'll be announcing soon. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at Mark Ellis Live. The gang will see you for tomorrow's Movie Talk, and I'll see you guys back here bright and early Monday morning. Have a great weekend, kids. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.